From the low battery to the Church Creek Basin to the budget for the city, I speak exclusively with City of Charleston Councilman Harry Griffin for a special edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores. And be sure to listen to this interview next week on iHeartRadio. Councilman Harry Griffin, it's so good to see you.
Good to see you, buddy.
I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Oh, anytime. I know that it's been extremely busy for you and the Charleston City Council, from everything from the plastic bag ban to flooding to the Church Creek Basin to hate crimes. Describe you, Harry Griffin, the councilman for Charleston City right now.
Well, it's been a busy time of year. I got elected a little more than a year ago now. It's been the most absolute pleasure ever. Took a little bit of time to get my feet wet and get going. Didn't have that much time because we've had a really busy year. But lately, extremely busy. You have the plastic bag ban, which was approved at the last meeting. You have the budget, which will be argued over and nitpicked and eventually passed before the end of the fiscal year, at the end of December.
Right.
You've got a lot of projects. You've got Church Creek that's been a big deal all year long, which is good because it needs to be. Flooding, just in general. We just had a presentation on what the new lower battery wall is going to cost and what it's going to look like. You got the Glen McConnell widening, which is a county project, but will have a very significant impact in the city.
Sure.
You have a lot of things going on. And it's been a pleasure to work with my counterparts on council. And it's been a tough year because we all want things to get done. But we've done a good job of respecting each other's opinions, and I think we need to finish strong. This budget really needs to reflect where we're going as a city, not just for next year, not just for 5 years from now, not 10, for generations. And how we do that is we appropriate money for flooding, and we work to fix some of the issues that we as a city have allowed to happen.
What are those issues that the city has allowed to happen in your mind?
Well, I'll give you an example. Last meeting, we voted on a new TIF district for Church Creek. We're asking Church Creek drainage basin to have some commercial aspects to it. If you go out into my district along Beach Ferry Road and you look around, you see a Bilo with a couple of small shops, and you see a Walmart. And other than that, you don't really have a lot of commercial economic development. You're asking this TIF, you're asking for this district to create revenue. And it's going to take a long time to do that. The projected number is, $25 million or so. That's what we're hoping to do. There was also a comment made at council that really, really bothered me that, we'll fund some of these Church Creek projects now and we'll use the TIF money to reimburse us. The problem with that is, over the years, so much money has been appropriated for downtown, and not a lot has been appropriated to West Ashley, but at the same time, we've had mass development that we've allowed to happen. And now we're asking an area that is struggling with flooding to build more commercial aspects, which the people in the area are very concerned. I mean, what is all this? The city's asking this area to develop. But people are going to be skeptical because of what's happened in the past with all of the flooding. So it's a tough issue, really. We've allowed development for so long. I think it's our job as a city to look out for the taxpayers who put so much money into stormwater operations and stuff like that. It's time that we get reimbursed for that. We get reimbursed, not the city reimbursed, but us as taxpayers. And by doing that, I'm saying we need to fix the problems that we've created. The city council is the last line of defense. If a project's approved, at the end of the day, you can point your fingers at your city councilman because we're the people that allowed it to happen. So that's what I'm saying. We haven't always been this strong into looking into what flooding is going to do, or what building is going to do in terms of what flooding it could cause. We have that mindset now, but we haven't always had that. So we have it's gonna take a lot for us to earn the respect of our citizens again.
You talk about Bees Ferry. I gotta talk to you about the obvious. The Glen McConnell Parkway widening. The Post and Courier says this. Plans are underway to widen Glen McConnell Parkway, a move that will relieve congestion on the busy avenue connecting Bees Ferry Road and Interstate 526. What else should relieve congestion when it comes to the Glen McConnell Parkway?
Well, you look at Glen McConnell right now. It is oversaturated. It is at capacity in the mornings and in the evenings. I mean, right now it's 5:50 and it's probably a standstill. It's overburdened with traffic. You look at that area as a whole. There's very little infrastructure. If you're going out of West Ashley to the outer parts of West Ashley into the, even West Ashley High School or even farther to Bees Ferry Road, you either take Highway 61 or you take Glen McConnell. And that's really it. I mean, you could take Highway 17 and go around and try to come back. But there's little options. And if you look at Glen McConnell as it currently sits, you have this huge grassy median in between the 4 lanes. So it makes a lot of sense to build 2 more lanes, not really try to go outwards, but take it up some of that land in the middle and make a couple more lanes. It'll alleviate a lot of traffic in the mornings and in the afternoons in between Bees Ferry Road and 526. But I know that this project goes to Magwood, I believe.
Okay.
Which isn't all the way to 526, but very close. Now, this project is still only going to be, partially way done until we get this Glen McConnell extension along Savannah Parkway side of things done as well. So, there's a lot of potential growth, but, we've been promised a lot of this stuff for a long time. It takes a long time to happen. Kudos to the county; they're doing a great job. This project, they're having a meeting, public meeting on Monday night. Councilman Rawl, Councilman Brantley Moody, they have been really, really strong in terms of making sure this project is accessible to the public. It's going to be a really good project, but it's not going to happen overnight, and people need to know that. It's going to be a couple of years. You're going to have traffic studies. You're going to have sound studies. You're going to have a lot of studies. You have impact studies for flooding. I mean, anytime you take a piece of property that is undeveloped and turn it into something else, you have to make sure that it isn't going to negatively impact the area, especially Church Creek. I know very little of this project is even going to impact Church Creek, but a small portion is. So it needs to be studied. We need to make sure that the quality of life of the residents isn't negatively impacted by the study or by this project. But ultimately, this is a big piece to an even larger fix deep down, down the road. More infrastructure to this area, which is desperately needed.
You talk about it will take a couple of years for this particular project to be completed. How much money would it be cost in your mind?
Well, I think the price tag right now is about $25 million. I think everybody, if you knock on wood, you want it to stay on track. But I think it's, as long as you don't have a lot of encroachments and easements, and you're not trying to impede on other people's property and eminent domain and have to buy out properties. That's what would happen if you had to go outwards. But if you take that inner median and you use that green space that's there, I can easily see us getting 2 more lanes out of that. And honestly, I think that's how you keep the price tag down. I mean, you want to get as few people involved in terms of property as possible. So, projects sometimes don't always go on track and sometimes can not take a lot more time than what we expect, but Charleston County does a pretty good job of getting their projects done on time, and so I would expect that the taxpayers will be happy that the price tag is a lot less than that they would probably expect. I think $25 million is a pretty, it's not pennies by any means, but it's not astronomical compared to some of the price tags that we spend down at the city.
And you talked earlier about obviously 526 and all of this discussion here. Can you talk to me more about where you are with this, basically the discussion about the future of 526?
Well, I am today, and I always have been 1,000% behind the completion of 526. You know, I got to give our governor credit, Governor McMaster. He came out and really fought for those guys. And the members of county council, I mean, they have an overwhelming majority of councilmen that support the completion. And, you know, I see them, I've seen Councilman Moody and Councilman Summy up in Columbia meeting with the governor, pushing to get this project done. I know that there's some legal things that are going on that they're trying to get resolved. I know that they will, and I know that the will of council right now is to get this project finished. You know, you got Jenny Honeycutt coming on board. She's pro 526. Even Anna Johnson is pro 526, I believe. You have a strong number of county council members that support it. And if you ask the table at city council,
Right.
you'd have the same. Even the mayor supports 526.
Right.
And so even though we don't have a big part in that, our support, I think, carries a little bit of weight because we're going to keep pounding the drum just like county council. Intergovernmental affairs is important, and we all have to be on the same page, especially on something that impacts all of our residents.
I gotta go back to a couple of things that I talked to you about earlier, with the plastic bag ban, the hate crime issue, as well as the low battery. Can you describe those in one word to me? The plastic bag ban.
Necessary. You know, it's tough on local businesses, but we have to go out of our way as a city to make sure that local businesses are not at a disadvantage from this ban. I talked about that at council. We have we're going to have a 1-year period
Right.
of everybody getting ready, and then all businesses can apply for an exemption for another year. So that's 2 years to get ready, get prepared, and the city is going to, I believe it's our sustainability
Right.
department, a newer department. They're going to be working with local businesses to help them get ready. Look around the area, a lot of businesses have already given up plastic, and more to come. And it'll be a really, people deserve 2 years if they need it, but I don't see anybody that is going to be unwilling to do it in 24 months.
Describe to me the following one word: hate crimes in Charleston.
Despicable. We've seen it firsthand in Charleston, and we've seen it all around the world. And we've seen, I mean, just a couple hours ago, there was a strong-arm robbery on Orleans Road. There was a murder on the Chuck E. Cheese just over Thanksgiving weekend, and everybody knows about Dylan Roof. You know, hate is it's not accepted in Charleston. And, you know, I kind of give some broad examples. Dylan Roof obviously is the one that everybody knows, but, you know, hate is just not ever going to be accepted in the city. And we have to make sure that our laws represent how that we have a zero tolerance policy for hate. And we're going to enforce that. And I know Scarlett Wilson is going to make sure that they're punished. There's no need to ever have anything like what's happened in the past happen in Charleston. And we have to do whatever we can to make sure it never happens again.
I know that obviously you've been on Charleston City Council for 1 year, but when you look into your vision as far as your future, what do you see?
I'm just excited to be on City Council. You know, I don't know what the future holds for me. All I know is I haven't done enough yet. I haven't. Every day, I feel like I can do a little more, and so that's something that I tell myself every morning when I get up. Find some more people to help today. I ran with a pretty basic premise: stop the flooding. The traffic's out of control. We got to fix that. And we have to be more accessible to the people. I'm pretty accessible. I've done a pretty good job of that. I'm active on social media. People can call my cell phone. I take calls 24 hours a day. But we still have a huge flooding problem. We still have a huge traffic problem. I don't know if you saw the article in the newspaper a few days ago about it was a commentary piece about whether Mayor Tecklenburg would run unopposed or if anybody wanted to run or anything like that. You know, to me, I don't think it really matters. I think he's worked pretty hard. I would say so far he's done an all right job. He's a really good activist. He's done a lot of good social things for Charleston. I still think that we need to work on the policy side of things. But whoever the mayor is, I'm not getting into that debating and all that campaigning. This next year, we have to continue to focus on fixing flooding. We have to continue to get money to West Ashley. We've got some serious projects that really are gonna change Charleston forever. You know, even the lower battery wall. I mean, at one point that price tag was astronomical. Now it looks like it's going to be approximately $50 million. That's the kind of numbers we've been given from the engineers. That has to be done. That wall's over 100 years old, and we've got to fix it, because if we don't, it's going to drastically hurt the city. Those are the kind of things we have to focus on. These issues that, you know, Charleston is known for its history and its tradition, but we have infrastructure in place that's 100 years old that has never, you know, we've done some renovations, but we have to do some serious fixing, and it's not cheap. So obviously the budget is a top priority, but you know, no matter what happens and what my future holds, I just want to be known as a guy who every single day gave it his all, helped the people of Charleston. I've lived in Charleston my whole life, you know that, and I plan to live here for the rest of my life. And that means I have the opportunity of a lifetime, and that is to impact Charleston as a young man, and hopefully impact Charleston for the rest of my life. But at the end of the day, 30, 40 years from now, I can't blame anybody but myself if we didn't get something done. And that's what I just try to do. It doesn't make sense for me to look forward too far. I just want to win every day. I want us to win as a city, and I want to make sure our people are taken care of.
Councilman Harry Griffin, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate this.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.